riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, dental plan to my Lisa Needs Braces, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how are you, my friend?
I am really good, Garrett. I would like to thank everyone that donated to the Secret Tim Patreon, and I would like to thank all of you who bought Tim-branded Python omelet eggs to raise money for my various causes.
Wow. Nobody eat those eggs. Also, I think that you can be charged if you fund some of the things Tim is likely doing. And 3, I'm going to need to wet that beak.
Absolutely not. In the interest of full disclosure, though, I should probably mention that it turns out, through a small mix-up, all of those eggs are fertilized. So, don't keep them too warm. Eat them immediately. I don't know. I don't know if, mother pythons sit on their eggs to make them hatch like birds, but watch out.
Sounds wrong.
Watch out. Don't just, put them in your little hidey hole in your wall and forget about them, because it will be full of snakes.
Good God.
Yeah.
Good advice, Tim. Anyway, secret Patreons and walls filled with snakes aside, what song have you been listening to for an entire week straight?
And I hope also you have been listening to the biting social commentary that is Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town, released May 22nd, 2023.
Of course I have. Of course I have. And Tim, after an entire week with Senor Aldean, I must ask it. Do you hate this song?
No, Garrett. I don't see what the big deal is.
I will cast thee out.
Fair enough. Yes, Garrett, I do hate this. This is all kinds of not good and, as we will get into, deeply troubling.
Fair.
What about you, friend? Do you hate this song or do you love this song? It's okay to love it if you love it.
I don't like the way you're saying that at all. No, of course I hate it, Tim. I hate it and it sucks.
Yeah, this must really hurt for you, especially since you have that Jason Aldean tattoo.
Was a dare.
You got it May 20th, 2023. 2 days later, fuck.
Yeah, talk about bad timing. Anyway, bad tattoos aside, you hate it, I hate it, the world kinda hates it, except for roughly 37% of America that absolutely loves it. Weird.
Yeah, Garrett, they're pretty hard for this song.
Well put. That is the right word. They are rock hard for it. And we're gonna get into all the reasons that they shouldn't be. But before we do, I am very curious, Tim, prior to this week, this very long, awful, country-tinged week, what is your history with this song and, more interestingly, Mr. Aldean?
No history with this song other than hearing some news reports about the controversy surrounding it, or really probably more the music video. And as far as I know, I didn't go back and listen to any of the Jason. Usually I will hit a couple of the highlights as I go through the history. Didn't do that this week because I was afraid it was going to be awful. Upsetting.
Good instincts.
So for the most part, I think this is my first Aldean experience. What about you, Garrett? Is this the first time your Jason has been Aldeaned?
Lucky for me, it is. I had a vague awareness of Mr. Aldean, but I did not realize just how odd his last name is until we said it a dozen times in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, I can explain that, but you're going to have to wait a few minutes.
Oh, I love it when you tease. So yeah.
I don't like that.
Too bad. Just talking about the history, Tim. Anyway, yeah, I'd heard of this guy, and I had proposed we do him as an episode, not knowing what his hits were. And then, lo and behold, he did the heavy lifting for us, and really, more importantly, the listeners did. You guys would not shut up about this. So here we are, some 5 weeks later, giving you the coldest takes on the planet, but you wouldn't stop, so here it is. I'm sure we're going to have at least a few unique thoughts. But yeah, prior to this week, I'd never heard anything by him, knew that he was somewhere on this planet making bad music. That's your history. That's my history. As Tim teased, before we talk about the song, it is customary to understand a little bit about the man who made it. Well, that's not right. Literally, really the right words, is it? It's important to understand a little bit about about the man who sang it. So Tim, take us on a journey. Help me, and perhaps the listeners, and we know some of your viewers, understand who is Jason Aldean, and when did he become so protective of his small towns?
Well, Garp, Jason Aldean Williams, that's Aldine, like a normal person, was born the same year as you, 1977, in Macon, Georgia, to parents that would get divorced and move to opposite sides of that Florida-Georgia line. For the most part, he lived with his mother in Macon, Georgia, and went to a private Christian school, Windsor Academy, which was founded as a segregation academy, which is, as you know, a private school that only admitted white students after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that public school segregation was unconstitutional in Brown versus Board of Education. It was not a segregation academy when he went there, but that's how it started out. Now, fun Snopple-branded fun fact number 208, Nancy Grace went to the same high school.
Oh, well, you know they're churning out winners. And to be fair, Tim, almost every American university that existed at the time of slavery since the time of slavery, was basically a segregation university.
Fair enough.
They all started out that way.
Fun Snopple-branded fun fact number 1198, the high school I went to was also founded as a segregation academy. Now, again, it wasn't when I went there. They had gone to Nicaragua, and there were Nicaraguans living with the baseball coach because we had ringers on our baseball team. But embarrassingly, Garrett, it is featured on the Wikipedia page that is just a list of known segregation academies. That is good old Northwest Academy, truly founded by racist monsters.
God, I thought my high school was completely irredeemable.
It is.
If anyone's curious. Oh, well, that's not nice. They may or may not have given out degrees to people who did not earn them. Which is saying a lot, because public school is not hard to earn them.
Sure, and now publicly I think we should state this. You did not attend school for long enough or enough days to graduate, and you technically did not earn a high school diploma.
2/3 of what you said is true.
Fair enough. Anywho, Mr. Aldean, or Mr. Williams, I should say at this point, spent his summers with his dad in Florida. His dad taught him how to play guitar. Before work, he would map out guitar chords on like notebook paper. Jason would practice all day, and then they would play together when he got home, things like George Strait and the band Alabama. See previous episodes of this show. Now, after seeing the CMAs on TV, JC decided he would like to be a performing musician. His mom helped him get a gig at the local VFW hall when he was 14. He started performing at talent contests and fairs and such before joining the house band at a venue called Nashville South that I believe was in Georgia at the age of 15. Now, he also decided at this point to change his name, owing to the fact that despite many attempts, no one with the last name Williams had ever been successful in the country music business, so he decided to spell his middle name differently and use it as his last name. He didn't know much about country music. His dad gave him a ton of support, helped him perform at local clubs and festivals. He did mostly covers, although the band that he started was secretly writing original songs in the background. He performed his originals for the first time at a showcase at Atlanta's The Buckboard in 1998. Now, I assume, based on the name and my intimate knowledge of homosexual euphemisms, that The Buckboard is a gay bathhouse.
I'm going to assume it's a radio station or something.
Michael Knox, who was there for allegedly only musical reasons, signed him to Warner Chappell for a publishing deal, and JC moved to Nashville at 21. He was offered a recording contract, but that was soon rescinded. He signed at a different label, but his recording sessions were postponed indefinitely, and he was dropped. He had a showcase at the also presumably gay bar Wild Horse Saloon that no one showed up to.
That one does sound pretty gay.
Yes. And then, like many country musicians before him, he gave himself 6 months before giving up on music, and like many country musicians before him, a few weeks later he was offered a deal from Broken Bow Records.
Jesus.
In 2001, he married Jessica Ann Ussery, more on her in a decade. He released his debut single Hicktown in 2005, accompanied by the eponymous self-titled album that hit number 37 on the US Billboard 200 and sold over 1 million copies. He followed that up with the album Relentless in 2007, which also sold over 1 million copies. In 2009, he released the album Wide Open, which sold over 2 million copies and contained the barely veiled homosexual anthem Big Green Tractor. Those of you in the gay farming community will know exactly what I am talking about.
Why do you know? Don't answer that.
He also got to perform with Bryan Adams on CMT Crossroads, and he got to work with Randy Owen of the band Alabama fame the same year.
Cool.
In 2010, he released released what would become a famous gay party anthem, My Kind of Party, and an album of the same name, which sold over 4 million copies, again, mostly in the gay Southern community. He collaborated with Kelly Clarkson and got into country rap, collaborating with Ludacris. In 2012, he released an album called Night Train, which sold over 2 million copies, and if you read into the lyrics a little bit, it's about, you know.
Banging?
At night, yes. Ludacris then released an EP, Burning Bridges, which featured JC on the title track. Also,
still unhappy about what you said.
In 2012, he admitted to, and I'm quoting here, having acted inappropriately at a bar with Brittany Kerr of American Idol fame. She released a statement saying she had suffered a lapse in judgment and would like to sincerely apologize to everyone that has been affected by this, except for JC's wife.
What?
He filed...
Wait, would they just start making out at the bar or something?
I assume there was some heavy petting.
I see. What a bunch of idiots.
JC filed for divorce the next year, and he was married to Brittany a year after that. So it all worked out for everyone except for his wife.
I'm sure she got a fat paycheck.
Maybe. In 2014, he went kind of in a slightly different, more mainstream direction. He released Old Boots, New Dirt, featuring Florida and Georgia, that had a more R&B and pop sound to it, and did not include the overtly gay themes his core audience was interested in. And as a result, it dropped him back down to about 1 million copies sold.
Interesting. This is all news to me. Fascinating stuff, Tim.
In 2016, he released the album They Don't Know, poking fun at the mainstream country press who just hadn't picked up on the extremely gay themes in all of his work to that point. In 2017, JC was performing at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas when Stephen Paddock began firing randomly into the crowd from the Mandalay Bay. JC got the fuck out of there as fast as he possibly could, which is exactly what I would have done. 60 people were killed and 867 were injured.
Jesus Christ.
Did you ever see any footage of that shooting?
Not really. Mostly just like people running.
Yeah, I saw this video, and again, I'm not 100% sure that it was of this specific event, but it was basically a video from the ground level. Again, I'm not even sure if it's real, but it was purported to be from this, and it's of everyone hiding. There's like gunshots echoing everywhere. And there's just a random guy standing up, his arms out to his side, Christ-like, yelling, "Choose me." I
do think that happened.
Well, that guy's fucking crazy.
I might be remembering you telling me that a previous time. Tough to say.
I'm sure that I sent you that video. Just watch this.
Yeah, because how do you not?
After the incident, JC said, "It's too easy to get guns, first and foremost. When you can walk in somewhere and you can get one in 5 minutes, do a background check that takes 5 minutes, like how in-depth is that background check? Those are the issues I have. It's not necessarily the guns themselves, or that I don't think people should have guns. I have a lot of them. But I guess he doesn't want that guy to have a gun or something. It's unclear.
Well, this is America, Tim.
Well, sure.
In America, we don't get to pick who gets a gun.
No, but I'm saying
Everybody.
I think he thinks we should.
Sure. Well, that's what makes him un-American.
Fair enough. At some
As
point,
I'm sure his fans called him.
Yes. At some point in here, JC also co-founded the gay resort Buck Commander. It uses being a hunting company as its cover. It's the sort of place where a young conservative man can tell his wife that he is going hunting with the boys, with the good old boys, and then go to a 5-star resort in the woods and hunt boys. And I mean that allegedly, and I also mean that sexually.
Well, no, you didn't need to clarify the second part. We all know what you mean. What's it called?
Buck Commander.
Listen,
a co-investor is that guy from Duck Commander, and also a bunch of Major League Baseball players who just, I assume, fuck.
It does kind of sound like Buck Commander. I don't know what else that could be.
Right. It's a very specific resort in the woods for boys.
B-O-I-Z. Sorry. Yeah, everybody's of age.
Yeah. In 2018, he released Rearview Town, featuring, by my count, 7 songs with graphic descriptions of gay sex, or at least metaphors thereof, and also notably features the song Rearview Town with lyrics about how he hates small towns.
Well, that's weird.
Wiped the footprints off my dash, tore up those sun-faded photographs, threw them in the wind, y'all can have them back, I'm out of here. I stuck my middle finger up in the sky, flipped off that y'all come back sign, looked in the mirror one last time, watched it disappear. It ain't nothing but a rear view town. Not a fan of small towns.
No, sounds like he's a big city fella.
Yeah, well, also Macon, Georgia, it's not a huge city, but it's a 1 to 200,000 person town. It's not a small town.
It's not a one stoplight town.
Right. JC released the album 9 in 2009. In the same year, he received the AMC Dick Clark Artist of the Decade for kicking ass for an entire 10 years, as Dick Clark phrased it. In 2021 and 2022, he released the double album Macon in Georgia. Pretty gross.
It's really stupid.
Yep. In 2022, his wife posted a bunch of anti-trans comments online, and JC's public relations firm dropped him as a result. She said, "I would really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life." Followed by a longer post in which she stated in opposition to sex change for minors, which aren't happening, and also, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
You know what? We're just not even going to dip our toes into that pool.
Yep. On May 19th, 2023, JC released the Song of the Week, Try That in a Small Town, and a bunch of people had a bunch of thoughts on it and its music video, which was released a couple months later, La Face.
And a hearty shalaby to you. Good history, Tim. Not great, but good. And that's not your fault. The
No,
subject
it's
could only be so interesting.
Constant songs about homosexuality.
You might be reading into that a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to say for sure. I don't know why you would anyway. Let's move past it. Good history, Tim. That brings us to the song itself. Before we talk about it, though, let's give everybody a little bit of a taste. Here it is, folks. You've heard of it. Now let it soak right into your ears. Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town.
Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag.
All right, Garrett. Slow, boring pop country trash with huge guitars for some reason.
Yeah, let's get right into the music. Fair to say this is, I believe they like to call it bro country.
Yeah, this is very Florida, Georgia liney.
Yeah, it is just barely country. Maybe the only country thing about it is the twang in his voice. The opening of the song, all the way through to the first chorus, I don't know if you noticed this, does not have a drum kit. It's got a weird snare or a clap or a hi-hat, depending on what 90s Casio keyboard you had. But
Yeah.
it's like a doom, doom, like that sort of a thing. It's like, damn, girl. That's what I'm expecting instead of try that in a small town. But that's what we get.
Yeah.
But that goes for like a minute and a half of this 3-minute song. And the whole time I'm just like, who produced this? Why am I listening to the first 5 minutes of a Belle Biv DeVoe song? Like, so odd. Eventually we do get a full band. It's replaced by an actual drummer. But until you get there,
That raises
it's
the
very
question
weird.
more. If you had a drummer, what's with that first part?
I don't know. And what was the drummer doing? Like, we'll get to the music video, but for the whole first part of it, till the drums kick in, he's in the dark on the stage. You can't see him because he's not doing anything. He's just waiting. Anyway, this song... Boy, we said it's bro country. The guitars are huge. They're so big.
Yeah.
Let's pretend for a moment that the content is amazing. The songwriting is brilliant. Musically, this song couldn't suck harder.
Yeah, this is terrible. Absolute garbage.
Terrible. I would rather listen to Steven Seagal because at least it's weird.
Yeah, at least he's gonna do like a Jamaican accent, and not knowing the lyrics, it will be interesting on its own.
Oh my
he's
God, I forgot he
making
did that.
decisions. They're not good decisions, but they are technically decisions. He made a
And I
choice.
stand by him.
Oh, he definitely does.
Always.
Yeah. This is also weirdly labeled as explicit on Amazon Music. I don't know if you had that on the iTunes.
Oh, I explicitly use my Amazon Music for shit like this,
Oh, fair enough.
so I don't taint my Apple Music.
Yeah, I guess he says shit. Is that why?
Yes, but here's the really funny thing is I had never heard this song prior to this week. So I open Amazon Music and I go and I hit play and I listen to the song. And with that weird like snare or hi-hat or whatever it is, I literally was like, wait a minute, is this the real song? Because Amazon has this fun thing where there's a fuck ton of covers of other people's songs. And if you're not paying close attention, they'll just put that on instead and be like, this is good, isn't it? Having never heard it, I went out to YouTube and was like, what's the official version of this? Because it can't possibly be what I'm listening to right now. No, it is.
Yeah.
It's just that stupid. It's bad.
Yeah, it is a poorly done song. It is a bad idea. We'll get into that. Yeah, it feels like kind of cheap. It feels like if you were going to put on like the garage band for like generic pop country, this is what you'd get.
Yeah.
You know?
That program has a fuck ton of fills, and you can just say, style, instruments, go. And this is what you get. And all you have to do is be mildly racist over it.
Yeah. So, okay, here's the thing. We're going to get into this. Is it racist? Let's have that. Because that's the big question. Let's not answer it yet. Let's just have that in our heads as we go through this. And to be clear, not written by him. This was written by Kelly Lovelace, Neil Thrasher, Tully Kennedy, and Kurt Allison.
4 people.
Yes.
It took 4 people to make this pile of garbage.
Right.
Tim,
Also,
should we be writing music?
We should, but none of this rhymes.
I love it when you say that.
It doesn't.
It sounds so silly. Like, dude, this song, none of it even rhymes.
But
like,
it's...
you know how many songs you listen to that don't rhyme?
Well, sure, but I mean, nothing in this rhymes.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It doesn't flow. Lyrically, it doesn't fit together.
Yeah. And I've written a different verse in the chorus that we'll get into later, because he complains a lot about things that happen in a big city, and we live in what is arguably the biggest American city, and I haven't seen any of these things. So I wrote down some things that I have seen, and I think it's a better song.
I do like that. That's great. Okay, let's get into themes of the song before we get to the words themselves. Thematically, best case scenario, it is about the importance of small town values and the disgust that Mr. Aldean feels towards you big city sinners.
Sure, but that is also coupled with, and that must be backed up by extrajudicial violence.
Yeah, he's gonna go vigilante 1860s style.
Yeah, which is, again...
It's hanging.
Yeah, it's lynching, and it's lynching minorities.
God, who knew I classed it up by just saying hanging? God. It's not going to get better from here, folks. His words, not... No, those are my words. About his words. Anyway, I don't want to put words in Mr. Aldean's mouth, but... And we're not saying anything 100,000 other people haven't already said, but it seems, coming in completely naive to the Aldean experience, it seems like this is a song about dispelling all others from the country.
Yeah, well, yes.
Combined with an irrational, made-up fear of a boogeyman that does not exist in this country.
Right. Yes. And the
So
music
in
video
lieu of
makes
those
it...
people-
Well, but the music video also then makes it very clear exactly who he's talking about. We'll get there.
Yeah. Don't want to jump the gun yet. We got a lot about the music video in a touch, but I think, Tim, we can't talk about this any further without reading the words on the page.
Oh, sure.
All right, let's get into it. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. No, I won't do that. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. Carjack an old lady at a red light. And let's just stop right there because boy howdy. I have so many questions. Is anybody pro this?
No, so that's the weird thing. He makes this assumption that these things are decriminalized at the very worst in like large cities. But assuming these things are widespread problems, they're not legal. Like assault, car theft, robbing liquor stores at gunpoint, like they're illegal everywhere, right?
Yeah.
If this song was about how in a big city, in some places, you can get away with petty theft under $1,000, like, okay, sure. But
Yep, but there's millions of people in that city, so like...
right. And also, like, I have seen several people get arrested for trying to steal small items at the Target across the street from our domicile. It's definitely still illegal.
Yeah, they definitely send you to jail.
Yeah. But, okay, so the sucker punch line. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. I believe that this is a reference to the quote-unquote knockout game, where youths, in his mind black youths, were said to be going around punching elderly white ladies for no reason. And that is a thing that has happened, but it's not
It was not a coordinated game.
or even a thing that happened frequently. It's a thing that it was first recorded in 1992, but it's for the most part an urban legend. It's for the most part Fox News scaremongering. If I may, November 21st, 2013, knockout assaults are the new rage by sick and depraved youths. We better start getting tough in this country, and they want to take our guns. A little bit later, 9 minutes later, if you are lucky enough to catch a knockout assaulter before getting slugged and you carry a gun, shoot the bastard. Teach them a lesson. Okay? 8 minutes later, weak newscasters are asking, is there a racial component to knockout attacks? Of course there is, and weakness will only make it worse. Care to guess whose tweets these are, Garrett?
I know exactly who said that.
Our best president. We should say it. We should
God,
just say
every
it.
time you do that, which I really don't like it when you call him that. I know you're being facetious. Like, there's a giant grin on your face, but it's gross. You're gross.
Put the hat on, Garrett. I'll stop when you put the hat on.
I will not. Anyway, I want to zero in on one of those tweets because one of them is interesting. If you manage to catch what are they called? Slugfest?
A knockout assaulter.
A knockout assaulter, not a thing. If you happen to catch a knockout assaulter before they strike.
So if you are lucky enough to catch, let me rephrase this. If you are lucky enough to catch a 15 to 35-year-old black male who has not hit you and you carry a gun, shoot the bastard. Teach them a lesson.
Yes.
Is what Donald J. Trump said at 8:15 p.m. November 21st, 2013.
And the only reason that you don't need to say allegedly is if they haven't hit you yet, what crime are you shooting them for?
Yes. And the only reason I don't need to say allegedly on the black thing is because 8 minutes later, is there a racial component? Of course there is.
Good God.
He is a national treasure.
If it was a different country, it'd be the funniest shit on the planet. Song continues. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Gotta pause again. Nobody thinks that's cool. We all hate crime. All cities hate crime. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, not big cities, though, you gotta remember.
No, but they do too. Maybe especially.
But I think here's the problem. Cities of over, let's say, like 150,000 people are completely okay with liquor store robberies.
Wait.
I think we have to assume that if we're gonna continue down this road with this man.
I mean, I'll take his word for it. Maybe he builds a better case as we keep going.
Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag, and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Bun thing here, cuss out a cop, stomp on the flag, light it up. That's protected under that First Amendment, right? That's free speech. This patriotic bitch is against free speech.
Yeah, I don't know why this guy hates the First Amendment.
Yeah. You shouldn't spit in a cop's face, though. That is assault and battery, and yeah, don't do that.
Spitting is assault, folks, in most states.
Yes.
Yeah, you think you're tough? No. Are you Randy Marsh now? You think you're tough?
Well, I like that that's also paired with like the flag thing. It's as if he believes that they are bullying the flag.
Why don't you pick on somebody your own size? It's a flag.
Yeah.
I also don't understand. Actually, let me make a small carve out. With the exception of military folks, I do not understand people that have this curious allegiance to a flag. Ideals? Sure. Democracy in general, I'm on board. A flag, though.
Well,
Who gives a fuck?
I think it's especially weird with a military person because if you have served your country, if you have, like literally defended the ideals that flag represents, you should understand what those ideals are. And then also you should understand that the flag is a representation of ideals. And
I agree. But my point was just that it might be a slightly more personal symbol.
Fair enough.
Only like, if it's your job to protect America, like you might like the flag slightly more. So I can understand that. And again, I don't think, to your point, I think you're right, but I can at least understand it more. But General fucking Joe Blow six pack, like who gives a fuck? Why do you care so much? Like it's a flag. And again, I'm not saying America, democracy, capitalism, just the flag. Who has enough energy to fucking care?
So many people.
Okay. I mean, they make underpants out of the flag. You think people aren't farting in those underpants?
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Farting all over the flag. Yeah. Anyway,
we did an episode a while back on flag code, and
what?
Oh yeah,
flag code.
Yeah. I read a good portion of the U.S. flag code and various regulations, so we do know that is.
We are up on our flag law. The other thing I do have to mention is up until this point, it's been punching somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking an old woman at a red light, robbing a liquor store at gunpoint, and yes, there is a difference. And then we get to cuss out a cop, stomp on the flag. Right. I'll even go one further, light it up.
Yes, so he is equating here common symbols of protest and freedom of speech with...
and felonies.
Violence, exactly. Yes, he's saying that you're lighting a flag on fire, cussing out a cop is equivalent to literal violence.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Prepisode. Round here, we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend that you don't try that in a small town. Okay.
Lots in here.
Maybe this is a warning, Garrett. Maybe he has grown up, he has spent a lot of time in small towns. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we're misinterpreting this. Maybe it's not about him boasting about small towns. Maybe this is him warning that people in small towns are incredibly shitty, immediately violent for minor infractions, and you should stay away, right? Those fucking lunatics will kill you. Do not go to a small town. Do not exercise your right to free speech. Do not protest. They'll murder you.
I love the idea that Jason Aldean is hanging out with his buddy, sitting on the couch, like watching this shitstorm on Fox News and whatever other channels it's on. Just like you and I sit around watching TV, or well, mostly Godzilla at night, and he's just like, yeah, they got it all wrong. Like, I think I should just clarify. And he's like, just don't say anything. He's like, no. Like, I think I can clear this all up. What I was saying is, like, the small towns are shitty and you got to stay away from them because they're a bunch of bigoted assholes. Dude, I'm telling you, just let it go. It'll die down. Somebody will say something insane. What you want to do is not a good idea.
Yeah.
God.
The other possibility along those lines is, we are fundamentally misunderstanding small towns. Like, maybe the small town he grew up in had kind of like a Dairy, Maine thing going on. And this song is like listen, don't be a dick in a small town, because based on my lived experience, if you're a dick around here, you will be confronted by a demon clown monster that as a child I discovered was a psychic projection of an extraterrestrial subterranean spider monster. Maturin the Great Turtle's nemesis? Yeah.
Luckily, me and my friends were able to have a small orgy and send that thing back to hell.
Definitely bleeping
That's what's in the book.
I understand, and I don't want on record either of us saying that.
No, I agree. I agree.
Okay, so if it's not that, though, he is at best advocating for extrajudicial murder. He is arguing in favor of literal lynch mobs.
I mean, method might be up for debate, but yeah.
I mean, at best, running somebody out of town, but it's not, though, because he makes clear that it's murdery violence later in this song, but...
Sure, but he doesn't necessarily specify lynching yet.
Sure, okay.
You've just seen the video too many times.
That's fair. But yeah, in the first verse, he seems to indicate weirdly that he's on the side of police, right? Respect police, don't cuss at them, etc. But it's illegal to take matters into your own hands, right? It seems to imply also that the police are... Okay, he seems to think that in big cities, the police aren't going to do anything to protect you. But given this talk, it seems like he thinks that about small town police too, right? Police are just as ineffectual in a small town as they are in a big city.
See, I think they just don't wait around for police to handle it. They mete out justice in real time.
Okay, fair enough. But the other thing though is, okay, what if he's saying, okay, the police do fine in a small town? That makes this more troubling because that means that it's not about crime, right? The police are more functional in a small city. They handle things. And
off the books.
And then, right, in a small town, you'll get arrested for committing a crime. So his justice is for different things, for things that are not technically illegal, right? He and his buddies are going to go around rounding up people for things they're not necessarily illegal.
They just don't like it.
Right. Yes, Garrett. Listen, and to be clear, it's not racist because, listen, James Chaney was black, but Andrew Goodman and Michael Shermer were white, It can't be racist if a majority of the people we've lynched are white.
Oh my God.
His words, not mine. I am against this, Garrett.
God, I know. Wow. Folks, if you don't know what Tim just said, that's fine.
Watch Mississippi Burning if you don't know.
Good stuff. I just want to point out the line, round here, we take care of our own. Who's your own?
See, yes, because that could be like, we take care of our neighbors. Like, so we're all watching out
community.
For that. But it could also mean like, you came to our town. Listen, we're gonna just take care of this. We're not gonna involve any of those big city cops. We're gonna take care of our own business. And we're gonna bury it in a very deep grave, maybe a little concrete on top.
Sure. Put a gymnasium or a parkway on it. Yeah, it's
We'll name
it's
it after the missing activists. That's fair.
Well, I'll have a good laugh about it. It'll seem like a memorial. But yeah, I think he's taking special care to not specifically, but at least intimate the other, the different, the we're all the same, but you're different and therefore bad, and we will kill you.
Right.
See, then we get guitars and drums finally do replace that Casio hi-hat or whatever it was. So it's a full band, and the song continues. He says, this is where it just gets so odd. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They said one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck.
Yeah, it's a weird verse because remember that time a guy shut up his concert? He fled and then said that guns were too easy to get, and
Also, who's they? They said one day they're gonna round up. Who is saying that?
I mean, liberals?
I don't even think they go that far. Like, I think they want to get elected, so they,
There was
they definitely don't say that.
Beto O'Rourke said it. And here's the thing. Okay, if you're listening and you're worried the government is going to take your guns, and also if you're listening and you think that taking guns away is going to solve gun violence in this country, there are an estimated 393.5 million guns in civilian possession in the U.S. as of 2017. Far more now. That works out to 1.21 guns for every person living in this country. 42% of households have some sort of firearm. 22% have a handgun. It is the most in raw numbers or per capita of any country on earth by any of those measures. It's not feasible to take guns away from people in meaningful numbers. If the government made a huge effort and took 200 million guns away from U.S. citizens, just stole them, there would be 200 million guns out there. So no one's coming to take your guns, and if they are, chances are, let's say somebody does come and take your gun. You got another gun, statistically.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. It's fine.
There you go. Well said, Tim. No one's coming, and even if they were, there's still so many guns. But trust me, because of that very reason, they're not coming.
Right. So it's not a problem. Stop this.
Anybody who says that is an idiot and was entirely unelectable from the beginning.
Yes.
Looking at you, Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
What a douche. Anyway.
Handsome, though.
Good skateboarder.
Yeah. Yeah. He does listen to the show, and I would vote for you, but manage your message better.
Yeah. If Tim and I can do a better job, you definitely need to hire a better campaign person.
Yeah.
Just learn how to talk.
Fair enough.
Or I recommend a podcast for 5 years.
Yeah, I recommend saying things and then taking about a week to, casually bleep the things you don't want out there. It's way easier.
Shut up.
We get the chorus again, and then we get the bridge, and things get sinister in the bridge. He says, full of good old boys raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Okay.
We all know what good old boys are.
Right. Yes,
There's no interpretation.
You and I spent a lot of time in Texas, so for those of you who don't know what the good old boys are, these are incredibly racist monsters with poor values that they were raised up right with. These are homophobic, casually racist people that they look respectable because they're wearing those chinos and they're playing golf and they're hunting and they're your Texas bank branch manager. These are people that think they are not racist because they attend galas and benefits twice a year for local charities, some of which occasionally help black people in sort of a peripheral sense, but that's the end of it. Or at least that was the case up until 2007. There are people that would say that they are from, listen, you're from Houston, I'm from Houston, I'm from a good family in Houston,
these are words people say at us.
Right. They're from quote-unquote good families, which means they're some of the worst people you will ever meet, but rich and super white.
We know somebody, and this was actually a good person in case anybody figures out who we're talking about, that was so wealthy, they were married at the Vatican.
Yeah, he was one of the good ones, but...
He also wasn't.
Yeah.
St. Peter's Basilica is not cheap to rent.
Yeah.
This is a true fucking story.
The inclusion of good old boys, though, makes it sound like he's definitely singing about a sundown town, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, terrible term, but good use of the term.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no other interpretation. It's basically the bridge is there to be like, in case anybody was unclear, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. Talking about white people that have all the stereotypes for Southern white people.
Right. And which also also makes me think that big cities maybe, in his mind, have rising crime, according to, the narrative, due to like a lack of good old boys. So I think he's saying that we, the listeners of this show, you and I, are just big city pussies too afraid to do what needs to be done, a la let's say, Bernard Getz or Daniel Penny.
Jesus Christ.
Good old boy, man.
Full of name drops this week.
I mean, that's what he's thinking, though, of somebody that's willing to step in and do a thing that leads to a person of darker skin tone not being anymore. Allegedly. Now, again, he didn't write this song, so maybe he doesn't agree.
I love the idea that it's either tongue-in-cheek or we just misinterpreted it a la I would do anything for love. He's like, it's in the song. It's right there. Why don't they get it?
Yeah, no, I love the idea, though, that he's just like, listen, like basically what we're doing now, of being like, listen, we grew up in Texas. There's some shit there. He's being like, I grew up in a small town. Don't fucking go there. They will mete out extrajudicial justice. It's bad. Don't do it. And we're all just like, this fucking guy.
It's the Springsteen effect, but like times 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where the Republican National Convention is going to play this guy's songs and he's going to be like, it was Born in the USA is not, I hate you.
Oh, that was like my favorite 6 months. Might not have even lasted that long. It was like 3 months where they were just like, hey, you're being critical of our beliefs. He's like, yeah, man, I have for the last 25 years. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You thought it was serious. Oh my God.
There's a Bruce Springsteen compilation. It's called Tracks, and it has Born in the USA on it, but it's done in the original way because it was originally a part of the Nebraska sessions, and so it's this sparse, like, you can like look it up on YouTube or something. I'd actually really recommend it, but it leaves no doubt that this is not a rah-rah GOP convention song, and it's delightful.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that.
It's a completely different take on that song.
Nice. All right, back to this pile of shit. We'll get the chorus again, and then the outro, which is just a single line from the chorus. I bet you can't guess which one. I think it's Try That in a Small Town.
Right. And so, okay, so to be clear, I don't really think Jason Aldean, even if he had written every word of this, I don't think he's racist. I think he is.
I don't either.
He's very open-minded sexually, and I think he would be happy to know that he has black fans. I think he'd be happy to know he has liberal fans. I think this is a crass marketing strategy to gin up controversy and drive up sales. And I don't want to spoil how well this did. Congrats to them. I think that his team made the decision that he would like to sell a song to everyone that wants to own the libtards or whatever, because that's more than enough people to make him a huge star.
As usual, allow me to pull the e-brake on this car as it goes speeding down the highway. I think it is the classic example of, some people are going to find this mildly offensive. People find a problem with everything. Most people are just going to think it's a fun song about living in a small town, not realizing that we live in the world today that we do. And I mean, honestly, this song is garbage.
Yeah, but that would have totally worked had they not released the music video.
God, you're right.
Because
like, it is.
No one gave a shit
we're
until
about to
July.
That's interesting. You're right. For the most part, 10% of the outrage was the song, 90% was the music video. And that does seem to, I don't know, every time something like this happens, I am inclined to point towards ignorance and coincidence, because most of the time that's to blame for situations much more than cunning or guile.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll see. It either way, whatever the reasoning behind the song and the music video, which we're about to talk about, whatever the decision making behind both of those were, some of maybe record-breaking, Hall of Fame bad choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, Garrett, before we go on to the music video, last question here, because I have written a little bit of a verse and a chorus here. What are the more interesting, like, big city horrors, things that are actually true he could have mentioned? I have stand in line to get a bagel dressed as Spider-Man, shamelessly poop on the subway, fly a plane into a building or two, explain Tower 7. You think it's cool? Well, act like a fool if you like. See The Lion King on Broadway, watch a pigeon fight a rat over a slice. Yeah, you think you're tough? Try that in a small town. We don't even have most of those things. Round here, Pennywise don't allow no You protest for more rights? It won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town.
Small edit. We should definitely add some bleeps to a couple of those words. But I like it quite a bit. Again, minus the... you made some parts worse.
Made
But
them
on
more
brand.
honest, yeah.
All right, Timmy, this is the time where we're going to get into the music video. Let me set the stage. The video takes place at the Maury.
I've been saying Maury, yeah.
I like Maury. Well, then it's probably Maury.
Fuck you, buddy.
Hey, you can't read or write. It's not my fault.
Fair.
It's a little my fault. I did set you back a few years. Anyway, the video takes place at the Maury County Courthouse building in Columbia, Tennessee. Kind of a cool setting, except for
But
other things that may or may not have happened. Well, no, other things that have happened there before this music video include being the site of race riots in 1946, as well as a 1927 lynching in which a white mob pulled an 18-year-old black man, Mr. Henry Choate, from his car and dragged him through the city by their car before hanging him in front of the courthouse. This music video takes place at.
yeah, it does not leave much to the imagination as far as what he means with the specific things the good old boys are gonna do.
And taking care of their own. And who's not part of their own. And who will not be taken care of. Yeah, okay, so that's what we've been talking about, folks. If you didn't know the controversy, and come on, how could you not at this point? Who in their right mind? First there's this song, which is just pure hot shit. It's just bad. It's just bad. And they're like, well, in the wrong light, this might seem kind of racist. We should probably tiptoe around this. You're right. Find me the site of a lynching and race riots. We'll set it there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
just
not
did the opposite.
It would make sense if it was like, because he claims like, oh, no one had any idea, but
Which is possible.
it is possible, but it's a little weird because it's not a town he's from. It's not a town he lives in. It's like they went out of their way to find this specific location.
Well, sure, but you got to think about how does a production work, especially a production worth millions of dollars. Jason Aldean, big deal. So you got a location scout to go out and pick somewhere cool, and you got to think this is about street justice. So courthouse makes a lot of sense. Finds a really cool courthouse, sets it up, gets the permits, all that jazz. Never once thinking like, oh right, this is like a super racist song. I should make sure nothing horribly racist happened here. Like that does make sense.
Fair enough.
But here's where this all falls apart. There are dozens of people involved in the production of even a music video. Any one of those people likely should have Googled it. Just saying. Everybody else did. Didn't take long for the rest of the world to go, wait a minute. Isn't that the place where, oh no. So yeah, probably actually was sheer ignorance, but yeah, somebody should have been on top of it. Yeah. Let's talk about the music video. That's the band. They set up on a stage. They're in front of this site of racism and bigotry and, street justice. That's not the right word.
And some were good people too.
Nope, not on both sides. Not doing that. Some were good people too. Some were just watching. God. Anyway, no. So band set up. As we mentioned as we went through the lyrics, song opens. You just see Aldean out up front doing his song. And the first half of the video is Aldean in all his leather bloated glory performing as scenes of violence are either intercut with them in front of this courthouse, or some of them are projected onto the courthouse behind him. But here's the part that's weird. Just like the song, some of the videos are crimes, like, oh, wow, that's a crime. Yep. Yeah, let's see that on, most extreme videos of surveillance or whatever. But then some are just people protesting. And a lot of it is just stock footage, either purchased by a studio or even produced by a studio to look like a protest.
Right. Now, let me say one thing first. I do think we should discuss his bloated face more, but yeah, because he claims repeatedly that this is all, it's not racist. It's not a pro-lynching song. It is, and he seems to think that like no one noticed before makes it better, but he said there's not a single lyric in the song that references race or points to it. There's not a single video clip that isn't real news footage, and that's just not true.
That's just not true.
There's stock footage of riots. There's clips from Canada and Ukraine. The lady that flips off the police later in this is from Germany. There's a Molotov cocktail clip that was commercially available stock footage. And there is a TikTokist, Destiny Stark, who dug most of this up and has since been getting death threats. She's been doxxed and she's gotten just a whole bunch of racist messages from fans of this song.
Cool. Good defense, guys.
Yep.
Doesn't make you seem like a bunch of well, exactly what we're calling you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically exactly that. It's scenes of riots and protests and etc.
Some of it looked like a championship celebration just, in Philly.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Some of it might have been. And, there's some like people robbing liquor stores and stuff here, which again, not a crime anywhere.
Right. We all hate armed robbery.
Yes. Except
Nobody's
for armed
pro.
robbers.
Sure, they're pro, but they're biased.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I would
shouldn't ask
argue
a
that
bunch
the
of
rest of
armed
us
robbers.
are biased in the opposite direction. Let's just agree that it is a neutral act.
Oh, see, now try that in a small town.
You know what? I get this song.
Let's go tip it back, friend. Okay. Let's see. So we see a bunch of people shouting at cops. There's some looting, which is not even sort of the same. You can shout at somebody. That's not illegal. Stealing still is. And then the last half, or maybe even third, we get to start seeing the ideal America, the Aldean America, Aldeanica. That can't be it. Almerendine.
Maybe something with Jason?
I scared the dog. Oh, that was very funny. Also a good note. So the video clips change to a better time, a simpler time. We see people duck hunting, a family playing football in the backyard, 2 soldiers walking in a sunset, possibly from the film Top Gun or a Top Gun at this point.
Yeah,
Both
and again,
holding sniper rifles though, so that's not.
But he makes it seem romantic, right?
Like
they're going.
Okay, I think you did. I think you made it seem romantic. Yeah. Then if all that wasn't enough, if we needed to really just spell it out for some of the mouth breathers in the audience, shots of 1950s American families.
Ugh.
We want to go back to this. Then we see some baseball, hopscotch, fields of wheat, tractors, and a slow fade on a sweaty Aldean.
God, he's so bloated.
So bloated. I don't know if it's the hat doesn't fit and it's making his face look puffy.
No, I've seen him without it.
In that video, he's wearing almost all leather. That can't be good for you.
Maybe it's keeping too many of his electrolytes in.
Yeah. He's marinating in his own juices, and that can't, oh God, it's like a sauna. Ugh. That brings us to how did it do? So Tim, I gotta ask, how did it do?
Really well. The best ever for any of his songs. There is a new chart called the Billboard Global 200 on which it hit number 2, which means it was the second best-selling song over 200 worldwide territories. It was a number 1 single on the US Billboard Hot 100, number 9 in Canada, number 26 in New Zealand, number 9 in the UK. We don't have any official Dutch data, but it did receive 23 out of 23 Dutch thumbs up in our official Why I Hate This Album Dutch rating system. I'm not sure what that says about these Dutch or the Dutch in general, but I suspect they're simply doing a bad job in hopes that I will fire them and set them free. Here's what they don't seem to understand. That's not what happens to them when I no longer have use for Dutch opinions. Jason Aldean made $43.5 million in 2015, $32.5 million in 2017, and again, this 2023 song, best he's ever done. So,
why did people in England like this song?
I don't know. Canada does have a rural base, and I understand why they sometimes like country. But yeah, no, the UK, I don't know.
Maybe it's just because they're all fucking small towns. Hampshire,
no, but they're
Shire-filled.
different small towns. They're like based around a castle. They have a strong central, it doesn't matter. Fucking ridiculous.
Oh, live in the now, England. Anyway. Well, that's all incredibly disappointing. What do people think of it?
Well, there are 15 total ratings on Amazon, 5 out of 5 stars on average, 100% 5-star. Everyone loves this, 23 out of 23 thumbs up. Nick Ryan from 2023 said, if more people listen to this instead of blindly trusting celebrities and the media, they'd understand that this song is not only excellent, but that it is not racist in any shape or form. In fact, everyone who lives in this great country should be singing this song and shouting it from the rooftops. 5 out of 5 stars.
Why?
I don't know.
Again, ignore all the content. Replace every word in this song. It is a bad song. Is country music this bad? Do we need to release our Texas Toast album prior to having it fully mastered and completed? Because I think we could be making a fortune.
Absolutely. RMRM said, excellent tune, very anthem-like. The message is clear. Thanks. 5 out of 5 stars. That guy gets it, but likes it.
Right. Well, that's the worst. That's the worst
Yeah,
combo.
right.
Tim, I'm thinking sequel, maybe, nay, requel. Same song, exact song. Replace the word small with with large. Try that in a large town. All the things he lists are still things you shouldn't do.
Yes.
And you will go to jail for it. I don't understand why I can't make a few $1 million off of Try That in a Large Town.
That's fair. Klaysky said, this is what happens when you try to tell people what they're allowed to think. This is a good song. One person's interpretation of real things that happen every day in our society. The only thing that makes it a number one is people trying to cancel it. If you say it's racist, then I guess you're saying only one race are criminals and thugs. Coded language just means we are going to pretend you said things you never actually said or meant so we can condemn you. 5 out of 5 stars.
But the video, Tim. With the lynching and the black people in the videos doing nothing illegal.
Seymour from 2023. Great song, worth the download. Support Jason for speaking truth and sticking his neck out. Jason, keep your head held high. Don't back down. You are speaking truth and not at all advocating any violence. He is advocating not tolerating criminal and punk activity. He is saying that in general, small town folks have better manners, better upbringings, better bonds to neighbors, and are not likely to fold up and be a doormat when out of control clowns try to victimize upright citizens. It's not about race, it's about behavior. Love good character human beings of any color or background, but can't stand degenerates? This song was written for you. 5 out of 5 stars.
You know, I will meet this person halfway. There is a version of this where we could ignore race and just say, you know what, we're reading into that too much. This guy just doesn't like people that commit crimes. But at that point, yeah, none of us do.
Right.
So who do you really hate?
I know what good old boys are.
Right, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I know who they hate.
Ed M, 2023. I don't understand why anyone could hate the lyrics, but given the communist manifesto that people in charge live by and the folks that swear fealty, I understand why they do.
Fealty?
5 out of 5 stars.
I only know one group of people that actively pledge fealty to a single man.
Oh dear.
Two. No.
No,
Oh
right.
my God.
Sorry, Christians with that Jesus fella, and who's the second?
Yeah, that Trump.
Oh.
Like, nobody's walking around being like, you know what? I'd do whatever Joe Biden told me to, because he might send you off a cliff. He's not sure where he is. But you go to the other side of the aisle, that group of wahoos is just like, he's just speaking the truth, brother. None of them are speaking the truth.
Right.
One of them is talking to a couch, and the other one is just lying. Just lying. I don't know when he breathes.
Yeah. Now, you'll be happy to know, Garrett, that I looked at the YouTube comments and decided not to bother this week because we only have the one intern that knows how the bleep button works.
Yeah.
And I just can't go down that road. It was upsetting.
Yeah, that sounds right. Thank you. Good judgment, Tim. That brings us to who is this for, so I must ask Tim. Yikes. I'm a little afraid to ask, who is this for?
Well, Garrett, this is for Lawrence Rainey, Bernard Aiken, Otha Burks, Olin Burrage, Edgar Ray Killen, Frank Herndon, James Harris, Oliver Warner, Herman Tucker, Samuel Bowers.
Final thoughts?
None, Garrett. I could list some more people who...
No, please don't.
Okay.
I'm so tired of having to use the hold music. I feel like that's given you permission to torture me in the live recording, and I've got to figure out a way to stop the bleeding, because this has become a 3-hour endeavor again. God damn you. Tim, do you hate this song?
Yeah, fuck this. What about you, friend? Do you hate this?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's stupid. Even if it's not racist, it is. Like, the good old boys, sorry, I grew up with a bunch of good old boys in Fort Worth, Texas. They're not super open-minded.
They're not racist.
Yeah, they really, and maybe it's changed, haven't lived there in a long time, but
yeah,
had a lot of changing
This
to do.
only goes up through 2007, so maybe they're great now.
Yeah, maybe they've changed with the times. It's been 13-ish years, but whatever. Yeah, this is garbage. That brings us to listener mail. Tim, do you want to go first or do you want me to?
Well, Garrett, like every week, I would like to go first.
I feel like last week you had me go first.
This is from Andy. Dear G&T, I have been eagerly awaiting news about GT20, but there have been no updates in recent episodes. How is the luau? Did you get secretly married? And are you certain the answer is no, Garrett? Could I have learned the answer to these questions by simply joining the Discord server? The fans demand answers. Thanks, Andy. Well, Andy...
we are not married.
Well...
Hey, I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Presumably, this is not my nephew, Andy, as he intended GT20 and the celebratory luau. So I don't know exactly what you want to reveal, Gart, but we're currently wearing our matching anklets because Garrett said no to rings and he said no to bracelets, but he forgot to put any language regarding ankle jewelry into the contract. He bought me a meerkat. I think he definitely already regrets that. It bit the bejeebus out of Beck. I got Garrett a Genius Lyrics Scholar membership so he can now annotate Genius Lyrics.
I have yet to do so.
Yeah. You will, though. I performed a series of Marty Robbins covers accompanied only by Julian Coster of Neutral Milk Hotel and singing Saw and Theremin.
It was better than I expected.
Yeah, I personally had a great time. Garrett, your thoughts?
You know what? One of the better ones. We did align on a friendship theme for 2023, which has been helpful. I obviously won't divulge it or it won't come true. Everybody knows how friendship themes work, but it is, of course, a set of values and goals for the year that only Tim and I can achieve together. You guys have friends. You know how it works. We were able to do that. And of course, once we were able to do that, we got the matching high tops. We've been wearing those for the rest of the year.
I think personally, the high tops were to hide the anklet.
It wasn't to not hide the anklet. I gotta tell you, Tim, I should have known better because in 7th grade, I wore an anklet.
Yeah, you did.
I wore it all summer. And then first day of 8th grade, I was like, what's up, dudes? And they were like, hey, words we don't use in 2023. What's on your ankle? And I was like, oh, nothing.
Yeah, you forgot your high tops.
Yeah, I forgot that anklets aren't cool. But I forgot again. And now here I am.
Yep, committed for a year.
1 year. Anyway,
you can re-up.
No, thank you. I never take this off in hopes that it will fall off. Anyway, successful. GT20 was a rousing success. I am
married to Tim.
Nah, I really hope not.
Nah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, there were several ceremonies.
Listen, I want Garrett to eagerly accept. I don't want to trick him into anything. I've said too much. Garrett, what other news or listener mail or whatever? Please don't hit me. Just do whatever you're going to say and then, yeah.
I'm going to read my thing and then I'm going to give you the smack. Listener mail from David. David's email is titled A Not Particularly Surprising Axl Rose Experience. David writes, just caught the Get in the Ring prepisode. When I was in high school, we tried to see GNR 3 times only to have Axl flake out, injure himself on a microphone stand, or have to appear in court, thus canceling the shows. They eventually made it to Detroit and came on over an hour late, and I have 2 standout memories of that evening. Memory the first. Blind Melon opened and Shannon Hoon fell off the stage during No Rain. What?
That sounds right, but...
Yeah, no, it does. I'll never forget the sound of his voice trailing off, followed by the thud of the mic hitting the ground, and the laughter from the crowd. So much laughter.
Yeah, I do love Shannon Hoon, though. Miss that guy.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah, absolutely. Memory the second. About halfway through the show, Axl pointed to the box seats and went on a rant about the, quote, Jesus Christ, quote, the Jews who run the place, end quote.
Now, I don't understand why you can say it and I can't.
Because I'm quoting someone.
I was quoting... Yeah, all right. No.
Email continues, although the term he used was worse. I only know one worse word.
I know 3.
Oh. Then they had pizza delivered on stage. It was a weird experience and convinced me that Axl was never portraying a character when singing One in a Million.
Yeah, that's fair. But that pizza thing seems kind of endearing.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he's just a weirdo.
Yeah, that's fair.
David continues, Tim, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Garrett, keep busting. David. P.S. Have you given any thought to calling your occasional true crime music shows Prepisodes?
Oh, I like that.
That's not bad, but no, I won't be doing that. No. But good suggestion. Anyway, great email, David. Love that we got an individual sign-off each. Tim, you get the yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, which is cooler than you deserve. But then I do get a keep bustin', which is probably cooler than I deserve.
Agreed.
Alrighty, that brings us to music news of the weird. Tim, you want to go first or you want me to?
Well, like every episode, Garrett, I would like to go first.
That is accurate.
Music news of the weird.
In Liz Izzo news, Lizzo, her dance captain Shirlene Quigley, can't be a real name, and her production company are all being sued by some of her former dancers for creating a hostile work environment. More specifically, there are allegations of sexual harassment, religious harassment, racial harassment, interference with prospective economic advantage, and that classic false imprisonment. Lawyer Ron Zambrando said in a statement, "The stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly. While privately, she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal, but absolutely demoralizing. The suit specifies that Lizzo pressured somebody to touch a nude Dutch dancer at a strip club in Amsterdam, invited cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas, and eating bananas protruding from the performers' vaginas, and shouted at her for hesitating to do so. Lizzo also, allegedly, treats the dance cast differently than the rest of her crew, which seems completely reasonable as they have different jobs, but some of the suing cast seem to think it is because they are women of color, and apparently Lizzo hates black women, allegedly. She also allegedly tried to convert some filthy non-believer to Christianity, which I support wholeheartedly, and she allegedly told the dance cast that she had eyes and ears everywhere. When she later found out that one of the people had recorded the meeting, she became furious, hurling expletives at the group, and stated she was going to go around the room person by person until somebody told her who made the recording. When one of them admitted, Miss Quigley and Lizzo took turns berating her and castigating her, and then she was fired on the spot. Allegedly.
Jesus Christ. Lizzo doesn't seem super nice. Now, I can't defend most of that behavior, but I do want to say that sex show in the Dutch, I'm almost certain the name of it is Flying Dildos.
Oh, well, you should have known before going in.
Yeah. I would not go to a Dutch sex show with my coworkers.
What if your boss insisted?
No, even more so.
What if she really insisted? What if your boss was Lizzo, Garrett? Let me ask you this. Right, exactly. Of course
That
you
seems
would.
fun.
Yeah, it'd be... Listen, she's gonna insist you eat some bananas?
God, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Don't eat fruit from other people's orifices.
Garrett, on that note, what other news do you have for us today?
In overweight ex-famous rappers news, rapper Busta Rhymes said he was motivated to lose weight after an incredibly alarming experience while having sex.
Oh.
Mr. Rhymes, Busta, said, quote, "One night I was getting ready to I was getting ready to have an intimate moment with my ex."
I'm sorry, is Busta Rhymes
embarrassed? He's bashful. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to say it like really fast to get it out.
It's amazing how fast he can rap. It's so cool. I didn't realize he was that good. Only in the last 2 years was I like, fucking shit, you're fast. Anyway, not the point. He continues in an interview with Men's Health, quote, "I got up and I walked out of the bedroom so she wouldn't see panic in me while I tried to get myself calm. I was trying to inhale and it just felt like it wasn't working." He was lightheaded and couldn't catch his breath, and when he came back into the bedroom, his now ex said something to, quote, "really fuck him up." Which is interesting. She was like, "Yo, this is not who I fell in love with," he recounted. She didn't know what had happened outside, but she was looking at my body and my weight, and she was like, "You gotta lose this weight. This breathing is scaring me," end quote. Which, that would make you feel pretty bad. So he began dieting and exercising, and over the next year lost almost 100 pounds. He was up to like 350.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah. Tim, what other news about overweight people do you have?
Ooh, I don't like that intro, Garrett. In Cardin's B news, the B, as always, stands for battery. You see, Garm. Oh, Garrett has a mouthful of Snapple.
God damn it, dude.
That was such a corny joke. You see, Garm, at a July 29th Las Vegas concert, an audience member threw their drink at her. And that's never a classy move, but she responded by throwing her microphone into the crowd, hitting this person, as well as some other non-drink thrower. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Anyway, one of those people filed a battery charge against her. I'm not sure if it was the person who kind of deserved it or the person that definitely didn't. They filed a battery charge with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, but luckily, Garrett, the case has been closed due to insufficient evidence, to which I ask, what?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
I can understand the charges being dropped, but there's like a lot of witnesses and video and stuff, right? Seems like there's
Also,
plenty
if
of
I was sitting in the audience of a Cardi B concert, well, probably standing in a Cardi B concert, and she hurls a microphone at me, I'm suing.
Yeah, you're gonna own the name Cardi B.
Yeah. Now, if I'm the person that threw the drink, good on you, B. Nice aim. But literally anybody else, listen, I have been struck in the face by a microphone repeatedly. It is horrible. You can't just whip those things around.
Yeah.
Unless it was like one of those little head-mounted mics, in which case, I don't know what we're even talking about.
Fair enough. And I don't know if it was because I didn't watch any footage.
Nor should you. Well, there probably wasn't any. It was insufficient.
That sounds right. Garrett, what other assault and battery news do you have?
My last story today, Tim, is not really a story, just more of a public service announcement. If you're in Europe and you see Kanye West, go the other way. Couple things I've noticed recently. Kanye is not wearing shoes anymore in public, and he's skinny. Now, that shouldn't sound like a bad thing, except I have noticed, and this is just a personal observation, anecdotal evidence probably doesn't mean a thing, but I've noticed when Kanye's on his meds, he's a little chunkier around the cheeks.
Oh,
Looking
yeah.
slim and trim these days, friend. Where are your shoes? Also, his girlfriend needs to get out of what is clearly a very abusive relationship.
Allegedly, for the love of God.
Oh, okay.
What? That's the one? You're not? Okay. All right.
I mean, he seems to be like dressing her and forcing her to do things in public that she shouldn't want to do.
Allegedly.
I guess, but also I have eyes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm not even willing to say that.
No. What would they be? Cameras? My God. Tim, do you have any other kind of news?
Yeah, I've got a bunch more stories. Let me get the best one here. Let's see. The elderly bachelor is too attractive. Wayne Brady is pansexual. China's dressing people up as zoo bears. Oh, here we go. Garrett, in I Still Have Access to the Company Card news, Jack White just had an online garage sale.
Oh, God. What do we own?
Well, Garrett, I purchased his 2013 Tesla. I purchased a bowling ball return apparatus. I purchased a mechanical fortune teller. I purchased a carved Caribbean mask, a guitar, a speed bag, a 6-foot-tall photomechanical portrait of an unknown African-American woman, some casts of his fingers from a 20-year-old car accident that I plan on using to obtain his fingerprints for a crime project I'm working on, and a 500-pound autopsy table that will be part of the same crime project. Also, and you'll like this, you know all that garbage that's on the cover of Consolers of the Lonely?
Yeah.
I bought you some of it. That's yours now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great. I can pretend to be a pioneer.
Some sort of pirate pioneer. A pirateer. You tried to make
Most of the
Aldean America.
Most of the things you bought is garbage.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm pretty angry. That sounds expensive. I love that I'm in the fucking vault program and I didn't even get an email about it. I probably did. I don't check my email.
And Google, when is Jack selling his things?
Oh, for your crime project. I
regularly,
forgot.
yes.
Right. Yeah. Any other exciting news this week, Timmy?
Nah.
All right. Well, we'll end this segment with an in memoriam. As Tim and I record this episode today, it is August 8th, which means we are 19 years past that fateful day in 2004 when the Dave Matthews Band dumped over 800 pounds of human waste onto an unsuspecting crowd of sightseers in the Chicago River. We salute you, Chicago, for getting shit on by Dave Matthews.
Garrett, we should also do another in memoriam here because today, August 8th, is also the day that Fat Mike of NoFX wrote a song called August 8th about that day that Jerry Garcia died, which was August 9th. So check out
Because
our
he hated him.
Heavy Petting Zoo. Yeah. It's about how it's a great day because Jerry Garcia's dead. He put it on Heavy Petting Zoo and it's the wrong day.
God, so confusing.
What a dickhead.
Still one of the best decisions I ever made to pixelate the cover of that album. Great news, Timmy. That brings me to my favorite part of the show where we announce the album we're going to be listening to for an entire week straight before we come back here and tell you why we love it or hate it. Probably hate it. Tim, please draw the ping pong ball from the hopper and announce what album will we be listening to.
All right, Garrett, this ball says Shania Twain, The Woman in Me.
Whose bed have you been spinning under?
I take it you've heard this before.
A little of the hits. Actually, I only know that. So the rest of it is a mystery. I have no real predictions here, Tim. I think that musically, it's probably going to be fine. Going to be a lot of I Heart Huckabee jokes. And I think we're going to be probably, boy, I hope it's not a Carrie Underwood situation. We got to bring the fire. Because Carrie Underwood was, for me, one of my least favorite episodes. Just so boring. So vanilla. So small town girl.
I remember enjoying that, but we'll see.
Fair enough. All right, folks. Until until then, if you'd like, and we'd like you to, please rate, review, subscribe, follow, whatever it is your podcast service of record asks you to do to let them know you like it. We don't ask you for much. We just want that. So get out there, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We got Discord servers. We got subreddits. We're on Instagram. That's HatePod. Twitter is Album HatePod. Threads is HatePod for as long as that's around. What am I forgetting? I think that's about it. We're on YouTube if you haven't figured that out. Just the audio though. You can't see our faces. And please reach out. We want to hear from you. Send us song submissions. We had a really good request the other day for a new piece of artwork. We wanted to make somebody a Babadook. Who did we want to turn into a Babadook?
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love. She's halfway there, gang. Just take a 1993 Courtney Love and slap a black cape on her. But we'd love to see it, so send it in. hatepodmail@gmail.com, or just go to contact us in the upper left-hand corner of hatepod.com. Send in that artwork, those song submissions, those interstitials and bumpers, your thoughts, your questions, your hopes, your dreams. Tim and I will read them here on the show, and there's always the end-of-year mailbag episode where we feature a few of the best, and you want to be there. So get your submissions in today. But until then, for Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other P. And on February 18th, 2017, Garrett P. said, "Oh yeah, you can use arsenic to kill a whole bevy of things."
That's true. That is true.
Good advice. Or reverse advice. Either way you want to take it.
It was reverse advice.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.